hard to take this in. 2 studies have shown that the coastal cities around the world could be flooded in this century. We're talking New York and Boston and Miami. We're talking Shanghai. We're talking London. So there is an immediacy to this that somehow our political system is not responding to. Yet we do have tremendous solutions moving forward. We have just enough time to avoid total cataclysmic disruption. So we are in a real crisis, and yet there are solutions that we can move on, but we've got to move now. Right now, there is a tremendous gap between the physics of climate change, the undeniable, really terrifying math of how fast the planet is actually changing, and the politics. And big oil, big coal, big fossil fuels have a stranglehold on the US government and on governments around the world. So in the US context, we have seen tremendous leadership from President Obama. It could have been more, but it was pretty significant. And if Hillary Clinton is elected, which seems likely, she's going to need a lot of pressure. She is stepping up. She is promising a solar future. She has come out against Keystone. She is being pushed to oppose fracking, but there's going to need to be huge public pressure to make sure that our government moves at the scale and speed needed. And the same is true, of course, around the world. People are going to have to see that corporations are literally putting a stranglehold on governments to keep us tied to the fossil fuel future, and we cannot accept that. We have to break free of that. I really believe that the movement to take on climate change is bending history right now. And the reason I think that is if I can just cite so much that has been done in the last 2 years, and I'll just give a few examples. Here in the United States, we decided to stop the Keystone Pipeline. This was a pipeline going from Canada to Texas to open up the tar sands in Canada. The tar sands, which are 3 times more polluting in terms of carbon pollution than traditional oil. Everybody said it was impossible, and we stopped it. And I could talk about all the people that were involved with that. The Cowboy and Indian Alliance, the elite Americans, the grassroots Americans, the laborers, but there was a tremendous effort, and we did it. Coal is going bankrupt. We just had Peabody Coal, Arch Coal shut down, declare bankruptcy. We have seen solar energy, not just here in the United States, but globally, beat all projections. It is cost competitive everywhere on the planet now, beating out natural gas, even with the low price of gas. Last year, 90% of all new energy infrastructure in the world was renewable energy. That's amazing. Globally, China has just recently announced that they are going to pull back on coal. Saudi Arabia, the most oil-dependent country in the world, the biggest oil producer, has announced a plan with the forward-thinking leadership of a 31-year-old prince, saying we want a post-carbon future. We are going to get off oil. We are going to become a solar country. We are going to be a post-carbon country, and our wealth will come from something other than fossil fuels. This is big. We are changing history in a very short amount of time. So often I think people feel paralyzed by this. I think, what can I do? I'm nobody. And that's just so not true. It's a whole bunch of nobodies who are acting. Bishop Tutu says it's so hard sometimes to see, the possibilities of the future. But it's all these little things. It's just the little things that we do all added together that adds up to this huge change. So each person can do at least 3 things. One thing is in your own lifestyle. In your lifestyle, you can make choices. Rethink your transportation. Try to stay out of the car. Don't take too many airplane rides. And if you do something to offset the impact of that. Rethink food. When you eat beef, you've got to look at the fact that there's a huge amount of water and energy that's going into producing this cattle. Usually cattle are grown in places where they've deforested. The impact of a single burger is huge. Does it mean no meat? Not for everybody, but look at your diet and its impact on the climate. So look at your lifestyle. It can be so many different things. Repurposing your clothes. Many things that we wear come from petroleum. Repurpose, reuse things. The second thing you can do is something in your community. Ultimately, we are going to retake our future in our communities. People are creating gardens that pull carbon out of the air, give us fresh food, give food access to everybody. Get involved with a community garden, or get involved with sustainable agriculture where we're not flying food from around the world, but we're getting it locally, where we're not using so much petroleum. Usually in most communities around the world, there are people working to transition to clean energy. Get involved with that in whatever way you can. And then get involved globally. This is a global fight. We got to go so fast, so far together. And it helps me anyway. It helps me, and I think others know, while I'm doing this in the United States, others are doing their bit in France or in Ethiopia or in South Africa or in Brazil. And actually, if you get involved, whether it's through 350.org or Avaz or any number of international networks, it's really cool because you can connect up with somebody in China and say, what's happening there? And actually, a lot of great things are happening in China. So I would say do something in your lifestyle, do something in your community, and get involved globally. And it's not that hard.